The film opens with kidnappers discovering their ransom money has been tracked by police. They split into two teams. One retrieves the money from a train, while the other takes a boy hostage. Despite a police ambush, the experienced kidnappers evade capture. They return to a hidden farm where the leader decides to spare the boy's life, assigning a woman named Youngju to care for him, despite initially planning his demise due to ransom failure. The news of the failed police operation against the kidnapping syndicate, dubbed the Goblin Case, quickly spread nationwide. 14 years later, Seok Tae and his gang execute a robbery at a lavish home, resulting in the accidental killing of the homeowner who resisted. Sensing the masseuse is truly blind, they spare his life and flee with their loot, only to be pursued by the police. Their escape is aided by Hua Yi, a young man raised by Seok Tae's gang after being kidnapped as a child. Hua Yi, skilled in various disciplines taught by his 5 fathers, outwits the police, disguising himself as a student during the getaway. On his return, Hua Yi encounters Yu Kyung, but remains silent, conveying his gratitude with a simple gesture. Back home, Seok Tae's gang praises Hua Yi for his assistance, illustrating the bond they share despite their criminal lifestyles. While Hua Yi lacks formal education, his unconventional upbringing has equipped him with diverse skills, including marksmanship and painting, nurtured by his mentors. One day, Jin Seong, a member of Seok Tae's crew, receives a task from corrupt cop Chang Ho to eliminate a priest named Hyung Taek, who refuses to sell his property to a businessman. Meanwhile, the police investigating Seok Tae's robbery are at a standstill due to the sole witness being a blind man. Policeman Jung Min creatively gathers a clue about the robbers smelling like cactus plants, linked to Seok Tae's shop selling ornamental plants. Alerted by Chang Ho about the police's progress, Seok Tae's gang rushes to act. They plan a new crime, involving Hua Yi's first participation, where he's assigned to kill someone, specifically the blind masseur. Despite Ki Tae's successful abduction of the masseur, Hua Yi's nerves betray him, resulting in Seok Tae punishing him by confinement in the basement for his failure. Seok Tae, known for his harsh demeanor, instills fear in Hua Yi through strict discipline. After dealing with the blind masseur, Seok Tae's gang, along with Chang Ho, plot the murder of Hyung Taek. With payment secured and the target located, they enlist Hua Yi's crucial assistance in the assassination scheme. Hua Yi successfully infiltrates Hyung Taek's home, facilitating Seok Tae's crew's entry to carry out the killing. Inside, Hua Yi discovers a childhood photo resembling himself. Meanwhile, Hyung Taek's wife, sensing an intruder, hides and alerts her husband, prompting Hua Yi to conceal her presence from Seok Tae's crew. In short, upon Hyung Taek's return home, he is swiftly subjected to a brutal assault by Seok Tae and his gang. Meanwhile, Hua Yi opts to aid Hyung Taek's wife in escaping to safety, earning Seok Tae's wrath and leading to Hua Yi being tasked with killing Hyung Taek as punishment. Initially trembling, Hua Yi eventually overcomes his hesitation, firing the fatal shot and continuing mechanically. Following the murder, Seok Tae's group flees the scene. Subsequently, Jung Min investigates, tracing clues from an umbrella inadvertently left by Hua Yi at Jin Seong's plant shop. Meanwhile, Hua Yi grapples with the weight of his actions, pondering over a childhood photo found at Hyung Taek's house, which Youngju identifies as Hua Yi himself, the woman who raised him. Driven by curiosity about his past, Hua Yi clandestinely searches Hyung Taek's home for clues about his potential former identity. However, as Hua Yi remains in the house, Hyung Taek's wife unexpectedly returns, prompting him to seek refuge upstairs in a seemingly child's room filled with orderly clothes and toys. To his shock, amidst the newspapers, he discovers reports detailing his own kidnapping 14 years earlier, realizing his own identity as the victim. The revelation deepens his anguish as he grasps the tragic reality that he has unknowingly slain his biological father, Hyung Taek. Meanwhile, distraught over her husband's death, Hyung Taek's wife contemplates ending her own life. Motivated by the desire to preserve his only remaining connection, Hua Yi intervenes to prevent her suicide. Amidst the chaos, Seok Tae and his gang search fruitlessly for Hua Yi's whereabouts. While they are away, Hua Yi seizes the opportunity to confront Jin Seong in his office, demanding answers about his true lineage as Hyung Taek's son. When Jin Seong refuses to divulge the truth, Hua Yi takes matters into his own hands, exacting vengeance and vowing to use his acquired criminal skills to seek retribution against his gangster mentors. Meanwhile, CEO Jin, who orchestrated Hyung Taek's murder, learns of his wife's survival, halting their planned development project. In response, Jin dispatches his henchman, Ji-won, to eliminate the obstacle. Ji-won coerces Chang-ho into ordering an attack on Hyung-taek's wife, currently hospitalized after a suicide attempt. Despite Chang-ho's command, the assassination fails as Hua-yi consistently safeguards his mother. Determined to end the threat posed by Seok-tae's gang, Hua-yi entrusts Yu-kyung with caring for his mother while he seeks retribution. Sneaking into Seok-tae's hideout, Hua-yi pilfers weapons, sparking a confrontation with Beom-soo. After a fierce struggle, Hua-yi narrowly escapes with supplies. Seok-tae's gang pursues him, leading to a tense chase culminating in a violent collision, allowing Hua-yi to evade capture as their vehicle is wrecked. Meanwhile, Jungmin uncovers clues regarding Hua-yi's abduction by Seok-tae's gang 14 years ago and launches a search for his whereabouts. That night, Seok-tae receives a call from Hua-yi, urging him to rendezvous at the site of his abduction. Rushing to the location with his crew, they fall into a trap. Hua-yi had informed CEO Jin about Seok-tae's knowledge of Hyung-taek's wife's whereabouts, prompting Jin to send Ji-won and his men to confront them. Tensions escalate quickly, leading to fights and gunfire. Despite losses, Seok-tae emerges victorious, albeit with casualties. Meanwhile, Ki-tae locates Hua-yi and attempts to reason with him, unaware of Hua-yi's reluctance to harm him due to their close bond. Tragically, Ki-tae meets his demise in an accidental fall during the confrontation. Meanwhile, upon receiving news from Chang-ho about the location of Hyung-taek's wife, Seok-tae hurries to eliminate her. Still grieving Ki-tae's death, Hua-yi receives a distress call from Yu-kyung, informing him of his mother's relocation from the treatment room and her own plight hiding from Chang-ho in the restroom. Responding swiftly, Hua-yi rushes to the hospital to rescue both his mother and Yu-kyung, but gets into an accident on the way. Elsewhere, Jungmin uncovers crucial evidence regarding the Goblin case, leading him to Seok-tae's residence, where he encounters Young-ju, who divulges everything. At the hospital, Seok-tae swiftly dispatches Chang-ho before heading to Hyung-taek's wife's room. He confronts her, revealing his role in shaping Hua-yi into a killer and the truth about Hua-yi's parentage, before exacting his revenge by killing her. Seok-tae recounts their shared past, revealing his unrequited love for Young-ju and his descent into a life of crime. With his confession complete, Seok-tae departs after committing the murder. Meanwhile, despite sustaining injuries from the accident, Hua-yi arrives at the hospital, consumed by frustration and anger at his inability to save his beloved mother. Elsewhere, Jungmin begins to suspect Hua-yi's involvement with Seok-tae's gang and tries to locate him. However, Young-ju, feeling maternal towards Hua-yi, tries to protect him, believing he is innocent and merely follows Seok-tae's orders. Eventually, Young-ju is compelled to knock Jungmin unconscious to shield Hua-yi. Seok-tae returns home and, over a minor issue, subjects Young-ju to torture. Hua-yi arrives and aims a gun at Seok-tae. Surprisingly, Jungmin regains consciousness and also points his gun at Seok-tae, who threatens to kill Young-ju. Seok-tae shoots Jungmin dead, and, to spare Young-ju, Hua-yi pretends to submit to Seok-tae's authority. Seok-tae offers to do anything for Hua-yi, but Hua-yi, feigning compliance, kills Seok-tae, who dies content knowing his son has become the monster he desired. Sometime later, Hua-yi gives Yu-kyung a camera as a token of appreciation for caring for his mother. Learning that CEO Jin orchestrated his parents' murder, Hua-yi tracks him down and kills him. The film concludes with Hua-yi visiting Young-ju in the hospital, and she smiles at him. The movie's moral underscores the dangers of grooming a child to become a killer, and the realization that true monsters may not bear an outwardly monstrous appearance.